apple pie, apple strudel, apple turnovers, apple sauce, apple juice. Is your mouth watering yet? I hope so. Hi everyone, it's Cindy and welcome back to the channel. So I thought it would be kind of fun to make a series of little tiny homes and have them kind of themed around different fruit or produce in the game. And since the Northern Hemisphere where I live is getting ready to head into autumn, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to make a little apple themed cottage. So we're starting off in New Crest, but we do actually swap over shortly to the Shrieking Llama lot of Windenburg. And I think Windenburg suits this little cottage really, really well. Now you might notice that I am using the tiny house trait, and this house has a footprint of 66 out of 100 tiles, which makes it a tier 3 small home. So it's not the tiniest house available, but it does have certain advantages as a small home, and that will include having reduced bills, and also when your Sims are happy, inspired, or focused, the buffs will last for twice as long, which is very useful for skill building. Despite its small size, this is not a starter home, unfortunately. It does cost 26,858 simoleons, and if you would like to add it to your game, it is available for download from the gallery. You can find it using my EA ID or hashtag Hyggehaven. That's HYGGEHAVEN. So the exterior shape has come together really quickly here, and I really, really love how the roof shape turned out. I so very rarely use pitched roofs to this extreme and hardly ever the roof curvature option, but I think it worked so well for this house, and I'm super, super happy with it. And you can also see that we have now switched over to the final lot in Windenburg, and here we are planting our orchard because, of course, an apple house has to have an apple orchard. And I do use the in-game cheats to grow the trees up to a mature state, which you'll see later on in the video as we get to doing the exterior a bit more. Now, as far as the Apple theme goes, you can see that I am relying heavily on a color scheme to kind of give that impression. So we've gone with this beautiful, rich apple red. This is the wood siding that came from Horse Ranch. And in fact, the stone siding on the little bump out is also from Horse Ranch. So all of the exterior wallpapers are Horse Ranch. But I love this rich, rich red. I think it is just so delicious. And you may have noticed that I struggled with the color swatches of the windows. I changed them so many times, and in fact so many times I had to cut some of it out. And then I started on the landscaping here, and instead of that bush I decided to put this little well in. I do love this old little well that now has a bush growing out of it because it's no longer functional. And for the landscaping, we keep it very kind of rural and higgledy-piggledy. We've got some like wild daisies. We've got the black-eyed Susan clumps, which I think are so pretty. And then the tall white flowers, I believe those were the digitalis plants, if I'm not mistaken. And then we've also got some ivy growing up along the sides of the building, along with just some of this green shrubbery as well. And we add in just a couple of like rocks and things like that, and just kind of try and blend it into the surrounding a wee little bit. And I also pop in a couple of cypress trees because you can see off to the side there, we've got a cypress as well. So let me know in the comments, because this is an autumn build, and I know I've watched a lot of videos recently where a lot of people are super, super excited that summer is ending and we're going into autumn. A lot of people like the cooler temperatures and everything that autumn brings. I think especially like celebrations such as Halloween and Thanksgiving, if those are things that you celebrate in your country, wherever you are in the world. And I want to know, let me know in the comments, what is your favorite favorite part of autumn. I know that when I was growing up living in Ontario, I loved going to autumn fairs. They were some of my favorite things to do. I loved all of the animal exhibits and all the craft competitions and, bobbing for apples and candy apples. Oh my goodness, I love a good candy apple. But now that I live in Sweden, we don't have autumn fairs here. However, one thing that we do have down in the south where I live, in a area of the province called Österlen, there is a town named Kivik, and every year they do an apple market, and it is a big, big to do here. And the big centerpiece of the apple market is this gigantic apple tovla. It's a giant apple pitcher made from actual apples that are like hung onto this giant board using spikes like nails. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. I haven't been there for several years now, unfortunately, but it's a really, really fun market. So that's a good one to come to if you're ever in Sweden in the autumn time. So anyway, you'll see that I added the really nice eyebrow dormer windows to the second level. I should mention there is no second story here. That is purely decorative, but I think they turned out really well along with the little awning over the door here. I don't always remember to include those, but I think it worked really well for this build. But now we're jumping on into the inside, and as usual, I'm starting with the kitchen, and we're using these gorgeous bright red cottage living countertops. I struggled a little bit with the upper cabinets just because of the layout of the kitchen and the windows and everything, but I think this works, and hopefully you will agree with that. And I envision the Sim or Sims that live in this little apple cottage are probably really big into baking and canning. I imagine that there are always delicious apple products, particularly in the autumn, of course, and the smell wafting out of this kitchen must just be absolutely fantastic. So I do put a little pot on the stove off camera later on. Right now I'll put a teapot on there, but I also put like a pot on there as like a little nod to canning, and maybe they make like homemade applesauce along with like apple baked goods here as well. And I think that's a really cute idea too. Anyway, a couple of fun facts that I also thought I would share with you as we are going through the build. I have quite a love affair over my life with apples, but it's a little bit strange because as a child, I loved anything that was made from apples. Applesauce, couldn't get enough. Apple pie, my all-time favorite pie growing up. I loved anything that you made with apples. Would I eat a raw apple, however? Absolutely not. It makes no sense in my head. I don't understand why that was, but as a child, I did not like raw apples. But anything made with them, I loved them. Now, since having grown up, I do like apples, and particularly I like to eat raw apples with a little bit of peanut butter on them. And let me know in the comments if you love that too, because I think it's just the perfect combination. Anyway, here we are in the living room, and we're just adding in some bits and bobs. I used the sofa from Horse Ranch as well. I think the red is just the perfect color. It's not too bright and in your face, and just kind of a bit of a muted red. And I knew I absolutely wanted to use this gorgeous barn painting. It just screams autumn to me. And sunflowers I also very much associate with like late summer, early autumn. So we popped a few of those in here as well. And I love this autumn wreath over the door that's just like encircling the fire alarm. I think that's super cute as well. And now we are heading into the one and only bedroom. I initially pulled out this bed because when I saw it, I thought Macintosh immediately. But as you can see, I did swap it out for the Growing Together bed. And I think it just works better with the wallpaper that I chose in here. And so we go with the plaid curtains instead. So we still have a little bit of that hint of Macintosh here. And then I almost forgot to add lights in, but while I might have almost forgotten lights, I did actually remember doors to all the rooms this time, so yay for me. Another fun fact from my childhood to do with apples was while I was growing up, not only was I obsessed with anything made from apples, I drank so much apple juice on a regular basis that it actually stained in between my front teeth. And we had to go to the dentist and have the dentist scrape the stain off. And that was purely from drinking too much apple juice. So just FYI, juice, it's not actually all that good for you. It can stain your teeth and it's loaded up with sugar. But that was a funny little antidote as well. Anyway, we're just finishing off the bathroom. It's very simple. I've pulled in the same wall tile and we've got a slightly different floor tile in here. And then we're jumping back outside to finish off the exterior. By the way, you might see here from my gallery that I do have a room with just this ladder from Cats and Dogs in it. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter if I have debug turned on or not. I cannot find this ladder in my game. So if you also have that problem, then be sure to check out that ladder room in my gallery listing because it's an easy way to grab that ladder if you can't find it in the catalog. And then I also used a tool to just rotate the ladder so it looks like you can climb up the trees. And as you can see here with these apple crates, which are technically end tables, I used a tool to turn them around so that they're facing what would technically be the correct side up in order to fill them. And then kind of here at the end, I decided I wanted to add the juice fizzing machine, and I wasn't really sure if I should have it open or enclosed, but we make a little shed for it. But that is pretty much everything for today's build. So if you enjoyed this video, a like is always much appreciated. If you're new, why not subscribe and click the bell to be notified. I had so much fun creating this build. I hope you enjoy it as well. But that is everything for today. I will leave you with the screenshots and have a lovely day.